Hey everyone, I'm Zack Dettmore. Welcome to Let's Renovate a Bathroom, and today we get to make this space look like a finished product. It's where all the cool accessories and bells and whistles come together in a finished space. So we're going to be working on toilet paper holders, towel bars, medicines, vanities, getting all the plumbing finishes into this space so it's nice and finished. Let's do it.
Let's Renovate a Bathroom, a Build original series brought to you by Schluter Systems.
Hey everyone, Zack Dettmore here. In this wonderful bathroom remodel, a little over a decade ago, I switched over to using an all-in-one system for a couple reasons. One, because they offer a warranty with all-in-one systems like the Schluter products, but also because one person, either the tile installer or my crew, is taking full ownership of that shower system and making sure it gets installed correctly. The great thing about Schluter is they have a ton of information online or in person to train installers on how to install these things properly. They've been in the business for about 50 years coming up with solutions for tile installers, such as their metal edge, which they're known for, but also the uncoupling membrane that we use on the floor and the heat cable that we use. But really what I think is a huge win for us as contractors is the all-in-one shower system, because that's the #1 issue I've seen for ripping out a perfectly good bathroom is because the shower pan is leaking. So by using the drain and using the wall board, we're able to sort of tie everything together. It's one monolithic piece. It's very easy to install and it's easy to water test, so the inspectors like it as well. Finally, the other thing I wanted to touch on is the quantity of drains and drain locations. If you're doing a remodel like we are and you have to work around the existing situation, Schluter offers a ton of different drain sizes and offsets, so it's really easy to make sure you get everything lined up exactly and it looks like an intentional design. So that's sort of why I've stuck with these products, and it's definitely limited my liability. Check out their products and go online to see their educational videos. So the first thing I want to talk about is towel bars, towel placement, towel hooks, towel rings. There's all sorts of towel storage you need in a bathroom, and let's talk about what they're for. So the first thing is obvious. Where are you putting the towel that you're drying your hands on or your guests are drying their hands on? Is it on a hook? Is it sitting on the counter? Is it integrated into the vanity itself? But when you have a tight space, it can become limited. So typically what we end up doing is either mounting a hook directly left or right of the sink. We do it on the side, or it's integrated into the vanity itself. Or if it's a large vanity, it's actually out on the counter in the middle. But in this case, it's really tight, not sure where we're gonna put it, so it's probably gonna end up being on a hook on the side of this vanity. The other thing is towels you shower with. Are you drying them outside the room? Are you drying them in the room? If you're able to dry them, are you in a humid climate where they're gonna smell if you don't sort of drape them in a way that they're not folded up on themselves? So dealing with towel management is important for proper drying. How many people are using this bathroom? So for example, in this bathroom, there's 4 people who are going to use this bathroom with somewhat frequency. So we need as much towel storage as possible. So for example, does it make sense to put 2 hooks here? Well, not really. There's a toilet below it, so we're really tight on space. So what we've gone ahead and done is put a double towel holder on the one section of wall above the radiator that is there, and that'll sort of maximize towel storage. We can also put a hook on the door, so that'll probably take care of 2 functional towel drying spots. The other thing to think about is when you're getting in and out of the shower, do you need a hook in close proximity so you're not coming out and dripping all over the floor? These can be integrated into the glass with horizontal towel bars on the glass, or you can even integrate a hook into your custom glass system. If you're going with a stock glass, like something you purchase off the shelf, then you may not have the options to sort of add those bars in. In this case, because it's a custom shower, we're doing custom glass, and all you need to know about that is hire a contractor that's well qualified, can do good work, and then you're gonna have pretty much a maintenance-free shower door experience. The final thing is you have decorative towels. A lot of people like having cool towels out. It's more of a decorative item, so do you need additional towel storage just for those things? And then the final thing is just towel storage. Do you have a hallway close by you can overflow towels into? Are they going into a cabinet inside the bathroom, which is what we have here. So I've factored in some storage up at the top of this cabinet for bulky towels, like bath towels, just so we have a replenishment of those in the bathroom. Another thing to consider is a toilet paper holder. It has become a more and more frequent style to, instead of having the little springing mechanism to remove the toilet paper, you have a flipping one. And these really need something solid to block into. So it's very important to add blocking for your toilet paper. If you have toilet paper, then where are you storing it? A lot of times if I'm doing custom vanities, which we're not, we'll make a shelf that's exactly 5 inches tall, which is just high enough for toilet paper, and you can fill that thing up. In this case, we have this cabinet here, and I've made a 5-inch shelf that we can store a lot of toilet paper in. So we try and make things as functional as possible with our bathroom renovations and integrate the stuff we know we need in there. So this toilet paper holder goes right there. So the electrician went ahead and installed this after the fact. Now we're going to center our mirror on it, and we're going to center our vanity on it. Let's do the vanity first. Okay, it's time to install the vanity. We did put some blocking back there, but if you didn't, what you can do is you can take a stud finder wherever you can get one, and then use a laser level to bring that down. So I'll just exemplify, I'll just show how that works here. So take my stud finder. I see that there's a stud here. Center that. And I could make a mark over here saying that there's a stud there. Another one there. Make a mark there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tile bit to drill a hole in the back where the tile is. So we know there's a stud here, but we want to know where we want it in the back. So we measure up on the back of the vanity, 30 inches. You can measure up here, 30 inches. And then we can take the laser and bring that stud mark down. And now we can drill a hole right through there. See how I'm hitting the stud there? Now we can measure the back off of center, so we know that that's our center mark for the vanity. It is exactly 10 1/16 off center. So we measure 10 1/16 off center in the back of the vanity. And then we bring that mark down, mark 30 off the floor. Then I'll just take a screw. I'm going to screw through the back of the cabinet at that mark. Now I can put my screw in here, and it's just a matter of screwing it in once I line it up. I do want there to be a good seal here, so I'm going to take some of this Lexel, put it on the back, so we have a nice tight seal and no water gets back there. All right, so you see the screws coming through. Let's see if we did good. All right, one more screw. It's nice and tight. Do a little bit more sealant around the bottom just to make sure it's nice and watertight, but it looks very good. Now we could take a bead and run it along here. I'm actually going to hold off on doing that because we may make some dust when we drill these holes, and I don't want any of that dust to stick to the sealant. So now it's mirror time. And although the elevations are important for designing, I think it's always a good idea to hold up the mirror and make sure it's capturing the tallest and shortest person in the home. In this case, this mirror articulates a little bit, so it can be a little bit higher than you would normally have it because you can pivot it down. So I'm on the taller end of a normal homeowner's height, so I'm going to hold it at the point where my body is sort of at the tip top of it, or my head anyway, because then it should allow shorter members of the family to see themselves. So I've sort of got the height where I want it. I put masking tape there, and I know I want it centered on this grout line here. So I'm going to make a mark there. And sometimes a mirror comes with template. Sometimes it doesn't, but just for the sake of learning, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just take a random scrap of cardboard and I'm going to flip the mirror so it's sitting on it. Then I can just sort of circle the points where it is. You can make this bigger, you can make this out of any scrap material. And then I'm going to circle where the holes get drilled. So now what I've done is I've taken my laser level, it's on an inexpensive tripod, and I've got a horizontal plane, center of the grout line, and then I've got a vertical one, center of the light fixture, right? Center of the vanity, center of the light fixture. And now I'm going to take a straight edge, this could be anything, and I'm just going to trace a template. Then I'm going to take a quick measurement from the center of the hole to the center of the hole, which is 22 inches. So I'll just make a mark at 11. And then I just hold my template up like that, get it exactly where I want it, and then trace through. All right, now it's time for the toilet paper holder. Each one's different, each preference different, so I find it's best to put the toilet in first before you actually put the toilet paper holder in if you don't know what you want. But because I've laid this out in elevations, I know exactly where I want it. So basically, the rule of thumb is going to be the distance of the toilet from the wall, so the leading edge of the bowl. In my case, it's 27 inches. Then we're going to add 6 to 12 inches from the leading edge of the bowl to where the toilet paper holder starts. And we're going to want to be roughly 26 inches off the floor to center. So that's where this lays out. And then I've gone ahead and just centered it on the grout spacing or the grout layout just for symmetry. So now we're going to go ahead and drill these holes. All right, now what I like to do is put a little bit of sealant behind these, just in case it keeps them from loosening up. If they're ever getting wet, kind of seals up the holes, even though this isn't really in a wet location. I prefer to apply the sealant once I've got the bracket sort of installed because it can be a little bit messy. Now I know I'm not going to kind of spread it all over the place. You want to tighten this, but you also don't want to over tighten it because it can break the tile when you're pinching the substrate, basically that foam board. We don't want to pinch that at all. We just want it to make a good connection. So here's my location for the towel bar. There's not a lot of space, but I've located it over the radiator just before the tub, and I've made it as wide as I can. Now aesthetically, it probably would look better to have a slightly shorter one, like an 18-inch, but I've decided to maximize functionality, so we're gonna have a 24-inch double bar here, which will allow two hand towels or maybe even smaller bath towels to hang on it. Now we're gonna drill this tile. So for drilling through the tile, we have kind of two options. We have a cone-shaped or a V-shaped bit with carbide cutting teeth on the front, and then you have this sort of circular hole saw, which is better for even harder tiles, and you can actually see it sparkling. It's a diamond tip, so this can go through very hard surfaces. With any of these bits, they do warm up, and if you get them very, very hot, it can damage it. So if it doesn't specifically call out that it's meant for dry cutting, you might want to lubricate the blade with some water as you're cutting and go relatively slow, say below 600 RPM. But in general, because this is soft tile that's easy to cut through, I'm just using this conical bit and it's very easy. Okay, so even though we have some blocking behind this, I'm gonna put a little bit of sealant here just to make sure water doesn't get in. I'm using this Lexel. Enough is plenty. So gobbing that on there. If I need to clean off a little bit, that's okay, but I don't want water to get in there. Now we're going to take our grab bar. Line it up with those spots. Take my Allen wrench. There we go. Now I've locked that in. So here we have our handheld that's going to go here. And our supply hose. See, the supply hose has rubber gaskets in the end. There's a nut version and a smooth. The smooth one typically sits in there. And the nut will get mounted to this piece, which will go right there. So we just need a nipple to connect from here to here, but I'm going to leave that for my plumber to do. So for now, I'm just going to leave this hanging like that. And I'll take this end. I want to cross thread that. Now it's time to put some shelving for storage of shampoo bottles. Now a lot of people like to install shower niches or niches, as some people call them, but we've got an exterior wall and an exterior wall, and we wanted to prioritize energy efficiency. So instead of doing a niche, we are going to add a corner shelf. And the nice thing about this one is because we used the Schluter shower pan, we have the same pattern on the shelf as we have on the drain, just a little. It's all about the details, let's be honest, right? So they sell different shapes of these. I went with two different shapes. Here I went with a 45 for the corner, and then over here I went with one that's a slightly different shape because I wanted the hose to sort of miss it. So we're gonna go a little bit lower with this one. And the nice thing about this, I'm gonna put these a little lower. It'd be more convenient to have them high, but I want to sort of obscure the ugly shampoo bottles so when you're looking through the door you don't see them. So whoever's using the shower is gonna have to bend over a little bit to get to them, but most of the storage will be out of the way. So we're gonna put two of these and one of these. We can always add more later. We're gonna start by marking where we're gonna make our cuts. So I'm gonna mark where this cut's gonna go. I'm gonna do one more down here. Over here. All right, now we've got our marks. I'm gonna use a tiny little diamond wheel to cut in there. You could also use an angle grinder, but this will be a little easier to control. One thing you'll notice is that I actually haven't penetrated the tile 100%. And by not penetrating the tile 100%, I haven't penetrated the waterproofing 100%. So that's why I like using that little tool. And then we're just going to put some Clean Seal sealant in here, just to sort of have that embed into something. I've just sort of finessed the opening for this in the drywall. Now I'm going to pinch these springs, put them in that little channel there, and then that just pops right up into place. All right, let's get the plumbers in here. I'll see you after they wrap up. All right, after a couple days, the plumbers came in, they got the toilet installed, our fixtures installed, the rest of the bath fixtures installed, everything's looking good, and our glazing contractor came through and installed the shower glass. Now, this is a project that to me is not really DIY. There are stock glass partitions that you get typically with a stock shower pan, and then you can save money because they all go together. In general, the glass on those units isn't as thick and it's not as high quality. So in this situation, because we were really trying to prioritize functionality, we opted to spend more money on a custom glass enclosure and not go the do-it-yourself route with that particular part of it. So I'm not really covering the specifics of this, but what I will tell you about the glazing is that you do pretty much subcontract this to a specific trade person who will come and take the measurements, they'll go away, they'll have the glass cut, they will have it tempered, and then they will install it for you. The tempering is basically, should this ever break, it breaks into dozens and dozens of little pieces, and there's no large shards that are going to break off. Understanding the functionality of the shower and the options available is also good to know. For example, we just have a simple handle, but you can also get towel bars, you can get towel hooks, you can get integrations with rods, you can get doors that swing in, out, you could have a bigger door, a smaller door. So understanding the options available to you in terms of color and finish and type of glass, there's a lot of customization. In general, these things are typically going to cost you at least $1,000, and they can be optioned up to easily $5,000 for something of this size, depending on the type of glass you use. They offer something called low iron glass, which is actually more of a true clear or blue color rather than this green color of what is called standard clear glass. So there's a lot of options you can do, but in terms of DIYing it, to me, the glazing part of the job should be done by a professional, and that's what we've done here. So that's pretty much all the accessories up in this bathroom. We got all the hardware installed. I'll see you next time for the wrap up.